Wembanyama looked great. I mean, very athletic. He can threes. Holmgren actually did very well also. I think he might have outscored the Wemby man in this game. But every time I saw a highlight, he was getting knocked out. He looked like Jerry Quarry. I think Tommy Hearns had a better chin than this guy, right? And the unfortunate thing for the hitman was if you blew on his chin, he went down. Literally, did you see any of these highlights? Because Holmgren, every play, he was knocked on his ass. Although he performed very well and he shrugged it off. It reminded me of like Ryan Tannehill when I saw him get just clobbered in his rookie season with the Miami Dolphins. That guy gets annihilated in a preseason game, just taken out with a vicious Marvin Jones on Gina Toretta type of hit. I'm looking to see, what this guy's reaction is going to be. They show him on the bench and he's laughing.
Yeah.
No, I thought, okay, I mean, this guy can live with a concussed head. He's very much like Troy Aikman. But they should just, hit Dolphin quarterbacks over the head with a sledgehammer as their initiation at their rookie introductory press conference. Just say, okay, now it's time to get a little bit of a feel for what it's going to be like to be back there.
Just set them up for what's to come.
Right in the head.
You can handle this. You can handle being a dog.
A surprise shot to the temple out of nowhere. And if they're still, talking at the press conference after that, then, that's my quarterback.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Good morning, Vietnam. Wow, good to be with you guys. We got a couple of greetings already here on the chat line. That's always a pleasure. You don't know how that warms our hearts, people. You really don't. In fact, if everybody that was viewing the program right now could just wish us a good morning on the chat line, if you know how to get in on that. Is that difficult, Lubie, to get in on the chat line here on the show? What do you have to do? It's impossible for me to figure out. I don't actually respond to any of these things because I don't know how to do it.
I think you guys can. I don't know. I haven't been on your side of things, so I don't know how it really works for you. For them, it's easy. Just sit, chat, and talk.
Oh, okay. I would have no idea what to punch here, and I'd be afraid to punch anything because, I'm computer illiterate pretty much. The lovely executive lady, Leslie from No Filter, has been bugging me for like 3 weeks now. Hey, can you just put a bio in on your profile page? I'm like, how do I get to my profile page? I have no idea. Now, Lubie is learning a very harsh lesson, and I'm going to warn you one more time, Lubie. Stop downloading porn sites on your work computer.
I don't download anything. I haven't downloaded anything since I was in college. You don't have
Probably not a good idea anyway, right? Yeah, I mean, because what's the first thing they do? They grab your computer, and even if they're investigating, some possible white collar crime that you might be involved in. Maybe you're just on the periphery of some other investigation and they seize your computer. And what's the first thing they find? So how many times have you gone to Pornhub.com? It's all over the place. I have a separate computer that works very slowly, and I never touch this one, Libby. I don't do anything on it because I'm pretty much incapable of correcting anything once it goes wrong, as you guys have witnessed. But we do appreciate the good morning. Rosalina, our good friend Rosalina, giant Hurricane fan, man. Rosalina, if you could you just tell us what the thought process was with you and your husband? They go to all the Canes games. They tailgate. They do everything, man. I mean, really old school, great stuff. The spirit is there. It's the kind of thing that I used to really appreciate and embrace when I was heavily involved with the Hurricane program, doing those post-game shows, pre-game shows, halftime shows, whatever it was I was involved in, all the talk shows, coaches shows. I always loved the really, really diehard, passionate Canes fans. Normally, I would think that's a little bit geeky, that you're so wrapped up, like, and be true to your school. But I love it. I absolutely love it when it comes to Hurricane fans that are still with the program with that kind of passion. Because you don't see it a lot, right? See a lot of empty seats there. And so we say good morning to Rosalina, but I'm wondering what she thought about, is that always going to be known as the mistake? What would that be? I mean, have they labeled that as something yet? There's the fumble, there's the miracle at the Meadowlands, there's all kinds of different stuff that has a name to it. Miracle on Ice, with Al Michaels, who, by the way, looks a little pasty, doesn't he? Al Michaels? Should he I don't want to say that, look, I'm 72, I'm still doing this, and it looks like I'm going to be doing this to my grave, and I don't mind it, right? Because it's fun. What would you do? I was talking to the great Steve Shapiro, longtime sports anchor at Channel 7. I believe he was somewhere else before he had like a 25-year run here at Channel 7. Steve Shapiro. I don't know why I'm getting that garbled feedback there, Louie, but Could be your computer again. But anyway, and he says, I'm doing nothing. Now, if you saw Steve Shapiro, now he was always a very handsome gentleman, made a great presence on TV. Steve Shapiro, would you agree that, I mean, you don't have to impugn your integrity, in terms of being, Mr. Macho by acknowledging that another guy is like a good looking guy, right, Lubie?
Oh, that's fine.
It's fine, right? I mean, the guy's a handsome guy. Should he not be the Golden Bachelor? I think he's fighting on a test right now. What a bunch of old bags they have chasing this guy. This guy's pretty good looking for 72, isn't he? I mean, he looks a lot better than I do at 72, the guy that's on The Bachelor, Golden Bachelor.
Yeah.
And apparently there are enough of us has-beens in the world of romance that this show is drawing like enormous numbers.
Oh, that's
Is 11 million a big viewing audience? I would think so. Huh?
Yeah,
We're pounding our chest about a couple of 100,000, which we still don't know if that's a bogus number or not. Do we, Lubie? Have we ever found out?
Bogus. They're legit numbers. It's just it's not every show, I guess, but
No,
those are real.
Who could watch us every day? I mean, we're glad that you people do. But Rosalina, wow, that's that's good. That's a loyal fan. Where you refuse to just trample Mario Cristobal for one of the bonehead coaching decisions of all time. I mean, you could probably look back on the Jets season, the second season with Rich Kotite. You could look back on the Coco Cameron year that we had here with the Miami Dolphins, where we nearly went unvictorious. Unbelievable. If Brian Billick doesn't, what did he do? He went for 2 or something. That cost them the chance to win the ball game or whatever it was. I remember it was very precarious, the margin of victory in that game. And otherwise, we probably go unvictorious and join the ranks of the infamous, along with teams like the original Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who were horrible, and others. What, the Lions went 0-16, didn't they? How many teams have gone unvictorious through an NFL season? Is it
2? The Lions and the Bucs.
Only 2?
That's were 0-14, not 0-16, and then the Lions were 0-16.
Yeah, I mean that's tough company to want to be in, isn't it? But,
yeah.
this Cristobal thing, the more I think about it, I mean, it just continues to grow in outrageousness. And yet, here's Rosalina. That's a good fan. She says rough loss last week.
Man, that's an understatement.
That's what a sweetheart this woman is.
That's very nice of her. I feel like it was a lot worse than that.
And then she just posted up, we will bounce back against North Carolina, ranked number 12. And with a solid quarterback, this guy's been lightening up. What is that? May is the guy's name? Yeah,
Yes.
At North Carolina.
Probably gonna be a top 10 pick. Yes.
No, he looks good and a good-looking kid too. I don't think he's having any trouble, getting dates on campus.
I think he does fine. Yes.
She believes, Rosalina believes the defense has to step it up, and Van Dyke needs to play well. Okay.
The defense hasn't been the issue. It's the Van Dyke thing is the problem.
It was the issue on those last 2 plays. Where the hell were they?
Oh, that way, yeah.
Were they already in the locker room thinking the game was over? Didn't we take a knee? What do you mean we got to come back out there? What are you, crazy?
They tapped out. Yeah, I feel like they tapped out. That's what that was, because they had played well the entire game. Their offense was the issue. Van Dyke had 3 freaking interceptions that were all stupid. It was
Pretty
like last year.
Unbelievable. All right, so we have the Greek coming up, and it's a Degenerate Friday, so we want to get into some things, but I do have to tell you about my Degenerate evening last night.
Okay.
And this was all sparked by, and it's part of the fun of being, it's always better to be the book than it is to be the person. I mean, we're trying to help you guys with our handicappers. We have the professor coming on. He hasn't been on fire or anything in terms of college football.
No.
But, he's going to figure it out eventually. And even if he has like a so-so year, it's still interesting to hear the guy's perspective and the depth in which he analyzes these games. It's not like he's coming from an ignorant standpoint. Let's put it that way.
No.
And as we've said many times, I mean, you can wax as eloquently as possible and always witnessed by and borne out by my action sports references here as, once again, the action top play from yesterday. What do you think it was, Lubie? They were talking about, this is today's. Yesterday's, it was the over in the Kansas City-Denver game. Final score was 19-8, 27. The over-under was 47. You were fucked from the start. I mean, it was like 3-0 after a quarter. Kansas City kept blowing opportunities in the fabled red zone. I mean, but they were deep in the red zone. They faked a field goal attempt on one of their tries and didn't make it. So they turned the ball over on downs. And then Mahomes with a really dumb interception. I mean, This was shades, going way back to the ineptitude of like, a Cleo Lemon quarterback team. Well, who was the guy that went to Rutgers? I think we talked to him a couple of times. He was a Dolphin quarterback very briefly, and he was always known for like throwing the ball while he was almost prone on the ground.
Ray Lucas.
Ray Lucas, yes, good call, Lubie. Nice job.
I know he went to Rutgers, but I remember we talked to him a few times.
Pretty sure Ray Lucas was a Rutgers guy, was he not?
I don't.
I'm going to go with that, Lubie. I'm going to go with that.
I just don't know.
Anyway, we'll get into some more detail on this. I would imagine too, because I think the professor was on the other side of this.
He was 100%.
West Virginia and the Houston game.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, which I mean, it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how much great logic you apply. You need luck. My buddy Albert Davila, the former WBC bantamweight champion of the world, said that to me in several interviews. He said, you know what? You need luck. You want to go out and earn it. You want to have things decided, wins and losses based on merit and performance. But you just flat out need luck sometimes. And that was the case last night with this game, Washington and or West Virginia and Houston. So I have Houston, just arbitrarily assigned Houston being the book with my friend Francesco, getting 3. Otherwise, I pay no attention, 0.0 attention to this game. Don't care about West Virginia. They're really not a strong factor in college football these days. And Houston, since David Klingler, I don't know. Are you paying a lot of attention? They've had some good teams.
Yeah, I mean, they had a few years. They beat FSU in an Orange Bowl with Tom Herman as head coach. So yes.
Right. I mean, yeah, they've had some good teams. Sometimes some very exciting offenses. But last night they fork over the lead with 12 seconds to go. Did you catch this? Oh, you didn't. You didn't catch.
I didn't watch any of it, and I'm glad I didn't. I would have felt bad. Good for you, but bad for the professor.
Oh, horrendous. I mean, for the professor. What are you talking about? Horrendous for anybody that had West Virginia. I mean, first, you kind of get lucky that they score a touchdown with 12 seconds to go to take the lead.
Okay.
And now they're up like 39 to, I guess it would have been 34 or something like that. 35, 39, 35. I'm not sure if they kicked the extra point, but with 12 seconds to go, Houston gets the ball. They get to the 50-yard line. Guy scrambles, looks like he was going to get sacked. He rolls out of the pocket, fires one down the field. It's tipped up in the air, touchdown Houston. They win, and since they were getting 3 points, they obviously covered. But, I mean, how much of a swing of emotion can you possibly get? You need to put money on games, people, and then everything will change for you as a sporting perspective. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat will never be more well-defined than they are when something like that happens. You don't come to Las Vegas and talk to a man like Mo Green like that, Michael. Unbelievable. The Greek's going to join us here, and then we will have Mark Lawrence of PlaybookSports.com. Always great. You think Mark Lawrence is going to pick the Jets this week, getting 7 against Philadelphia? What do you think?
Oh, God, no idea.
You know he's going with dogs. Brandon Lang yesterday on the show, if you guys were with us late yesterday. Brandon Lang, brilliant, I thought, on the program yesterday. Could we air that even on No Filter, that commentary that he had?
I mean, we can.
They may be taking my bio down that I just sent in yesterday.
Yeah.
By the way, Lubie, you have to help me attach a picture to that thing if you can. I don't have a picture of myself.
Okay.
To throw in there. All right. The Greek's coming up. Then we're going to talk to Mark Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com, the professor with the big board. And that will be our Degenerate Friday lineup. Later on today, we're out at Gulfstream Park with Mike Mayo, who claims to be losing weight. Did it look like he might have dropped a couple
pounds? A little thinner. Yeah, he looks a little thinner.
He had just ballooned up to maximum proportions, though, for his size, you would say.
100%, yes.
Yeah. When that guy mistook him for Butterbean Esh at Wicked Cheesesteaks, guy comes over to Mayo, asks him for his autograph, and he signs it, Mike Mayo, thinking, wow, that's great, man. I'm getting some recognition for this food show. And the guy says, what? You're not Butterbean Esh? What, are you kidding me? You're Butterbean Esh. You don't sign Mike Mayo to this thing. You ruined my shirt. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
That was a Polyman's Angry Man, right? 8:18. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
You know, people don't like being lied to. That's always the thing. With Pete Rose, if he had just said, of course I bet the Reds. What are you talking about? I had money on every game. We know you did, Pete. It's all right. I mean, now it'd be accepted. In fact, they would have, it's only a matter of time before the manager of the two teams is asked who he likes in the game. All right, we're going down on the field there. We got Tony La Russa. Tony, what do you think tonight? White Sox minus 135? Well, you know, we're going to go to the pen right away, and I'm going to make like 7 righty-lefty switches at inappropriate times, and I'm going to wear out my bullpen. In fact, all of these guys worked in the game last night, so I would think this. I would take the points, take the runs, and take the price on the Boston Red Sox tonight to beat us. I would not lay 135 to win 100 on the Chicago White Sox. Okay, thanks, Tony. Let's go to Alex Cora. Cora, what do you got? Well, you know, we got all our heavy hitters at the beginning of the lineup tonight, and they really pound this White Sox pitcher the last time he was out there. So I would think that we're a good bet, money line, straight up. When's that going to happen? I mean, that's going to be part of the pregame shows now.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here, the Defo Show, a Degenerate Friday. We had to juxtapose a couple of things here. We were going to talk to the Greek at this time, but wow, the guy has a regular job, huh? Unbelievable. And is involved in one of those hideous radio meetings that usually... Did you ever get anything, Lubie, in all of the meetings that you were forced to attend while working? How many years altogether were you at 940? Was that your first radio job, 940 Wins?
I was an intern in Tallahassee, but I was more than just an intern. I was literally the producer, executive producer, co-host of an afternoon drive show.
Okay.
When I was in grad school.
Did you have a lot of meetings or no?
No.
No meetings. Yeah.
No, the whole staff was like 6 people in the whole fucking. It was cumulus. It was like tiny. There, I started in 2007. Was there for 2 years. Was out for like 6 months, then back. So off and on for like. When did they
wow, that's a long time till like 21.
Years. I was there 14 years. Yeah, off
14 years.
I don't think I had one meeting worth anything. Like, eventually the meetings got to the point where like they would tell me things I already told them.
Yeah.
I was like,
as if it was their idea, which is always the way to try to present stuff. I mean, no matter how humiliating it may feel at the time, that you're getting no credit whatsoever for, having the foresight and the brilliance to straighten out the radio station and get it going in the right direction, maybe start sparking some revenue streams that otherwise had been previously dried up, like the Sahara that you were visiting, Lubie. It was always good, to go ahead and make the executives, the management people feel like it was their idea. You know what we ought to do? Well, we ought to do a pregame show for the Dolphins. Okay, that's a good idea. Well, why don't we try that? And next thing you know, they would find a way eventually to fuck it up.
Which fuck everything up.
Isn't that amazing? Like even, the simplest of things, just a no-brainer idea that you're carrying the Dolphins. Why wouldn't you want to have a local pregame show on there, no? You would think it would be a good idea, and they get one going, and then, who was it? Todd Winnick was the guy. He was always at the root. I don't mean to single the guy out. I mean, I don't have anything. It's not personal with me.
He sucked.
But you realize that this is a man who's on the side of evil.
Just stupidity. I don't know if he was evil. He just
Evil. I believe he was evil. I really do. He enjoyed delivering like a negative blow right to the balls. He really did.
Yeah,
Even if you weren't in his department, he was like a sales guy. And you're thinking, why is this guy having any kind of influence over what we're doing? We're creative people. I mean, just give us canvas, some paint, and we'll make something happen. These guys don't know anything about that, right? I mean, they know how to go out there and say, you know what, this is going to be such a value. I can't even really begin to fathom giving it away at this price. And you're like, meanwhile, the guy knows he's just robbing you blind. I mean, that's the way that whole business operates. But they would always find a way somehow to screw it up. But we were talking about that the other day when Bob Pittman, the CEO of iHeartMedia, used to hold these meetings, and you're sitting there looking, and you're supposed to be kind of awestruck by this guy because he's the head of the whole fucking thing, and you're asking yourself, how did he get in this position?
That's always what I thought. I never was like, oh, this guy's big. I was like, this guy sounds dumb.
You're asking yourself, I mean, what line of bullshit was this guy feeding people that he became the head? Like, I mean, the head of iHeartMedia is what? I mean, in profit and loss, I guess it's not quite like being the CEO of Disney, but it's not.
No, I mean,
is it?
They're the biggest.
800 radio stations, billboards, everything.
Yeah, they're the biggest radio conglomerate in the world. I mean, it's a big deal. As negative as they are, perception is big. They never said anything worth anything. It's like, dude, you guys are so like.
And the minute they told you that, they finished painting this rosy picture about not only where we're at today, but where the immediate future is about to take the company, then the next day they wouldn't even announce it. All of a sudden, there were like 60 empty chairs down in the various offices, and many people that were on the on-air staff no longer were able to express themselves because they were all gone. Right, this is right after the guy would tell you, well, know what, the direction of this company has never been more favorable, and you read in the newspaper like the next morning that the whole company's been sold. Always useless, those kind of meetings. It's same thing. I don't know. Is it applicable to sports, Lubie? It's always interesting to me, when they're having these team meetings constantly. It's one thing if the players get together and they're thinking, you know what, Buck Showalter doesn't know his ass from his elbow. No wonder we're only winning 75 games. It's a manager. I don't know that anything of any great significance is decided, but usually, a complete and total waste of time. As you might feel, I'm starting to sense that maybe this line of conversation is somewhat of a waste. But in all businesses, though, Lubie, would you say that meetings, for the most part, are a complete failure? Unnecessary waste of time. I always thought management arranged these meetings just so that it would look like they had something to do. All right. I don't know what side of this guy. I would imagine he was on the right side of this game if he was on this game at all. Let's welcome to the show the great one himself, Mr. Mark Lawrence from PlaybookSports.com, and get our Degenerate Friday activities rolling here on the program. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing real good, Defo. Doing much better after watching the end of that Houston game last night.
Of course, you guys won.
Can you believe that? I mean, I was saying earlier this morning, and I've mentioned this many times with you on the show. My personal bookmaking venture with my friend Francesco, who I would say of the 10 years we've been doing this, he has lost 9 of them. And he's a guy from Italy that didn't even know what he thought college football literally, involved a soccer team. And he was picking games and betting like 10, 15 games a week with me. And, he started out this season okay. And lately he's in a tailspin. And, of course, I had Houston last night as part of that activity. That was wild, huh? I mean, were you watching the end of that game? With 12 seconds to go, West Virginia takes the lead and looks like they're going to cover easily.
Yeah, I don't know about easily. I mean, there was a lot of threes out there. There was some 2.5s and whatnot, but they did take the lead, 12 seconds to go, and for all intents and purposes, I guess the nail was in the coffin. But they had other thoughts. It was unbelievable. To see back-to-back bang-bang plays like that and to see the money change hands 2 times in 2 plays, it was kind of wild.
It's been happening. I mean, it's been happening throughout history, but it seems like it's happening more often than not lately. Even the Kansas City game last night, with the Denver Broncos was at 10 and a hook. And Kansas City is, kind of breezing, even though, they're not putting a lot of points on the board, but they're up 16-zip. Denver gets a touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. Now it's, a so-called one-score game. And, you're realizing that, that's good if you had Kansas City with the points, because it forces them to push and maybe at least try to get a field goal towards the end of the game, which they do, a 50-plus yarder. And they managed to cover by the dreaded dagger there by a half a point, which was even referenced by Al Michaels, who must have had the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's supposed to be an over-under totals guy, and if he was dead buried under in that game.
Yeah.
But, like you mentioned, he referenced the half point anyway, and again, a lot of money changed hands with that field goal there. It's kind of wild. We see two major games, two spotlight primetime games, and the finishes of them were just wild.
Yes, and my disposition is particularly rosy today because I happen to be on the right side of both of those without making any kind of thoughtful, dissection of what was going to happen, just by having my friend text me, "Here's what you have tonight." And I'm like, okay, good. Consider the source, I guess, and you have to feel pretty comfortable about it. But it ended up completing a 3-game sweep for me. All right. How'd things go for you this week so far? I mean, there's already been a ton of action.
Yeah, there has. The only game that we were on was that play last night. We mentioned Houston. And we're going to step out over the weekend here, obviously. But good start to the week when you get you might say a gift in a sense, but it was kind of a cruel, tough loss 12 seconds earlier. But nonetheless, we take what the football gods give us.
You don't keep any kind of sedatives or mind-altering drugs by the the sofa there when you're watching these games?
No mushrooms, no.
You would have had to be on mushrooms to conjure up that ending. That's for sure. All right, Mark Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com. What's on your slate this week?
Well, we're going to continue to attack these 5-0 fat cats in college football because, number one, this will be the last week we'll be able to do it. And number two is because they win. And we just fade these teams that are 5-0 to start the college football season when they come favored in game number 6. And they tend to come back to the pack much more than they continue moving forward. We're going to look at two dogs here this week. Number one, we're going to look at Syracuse against Florida State this week. They're taking 17.5 points. And you got a real nice-looking Florida State team here that's obviously the public is enamored with them. They got them real high in the rankings. But if you look inside their numbers here, guys, I mean, they're allowing 364 yards a game. They've only out-yarded 3 of their 5 opponents they played this year. That's not the quality that you're looking for from a 5-0 football team. And on the other side, you're looking at Syracuse, who just had their season ruined, snapped with that loss. And Dino Babers has been outstanding in his career when he's been on the road against undefeated teams. 7 times he's been there, and 6 times he's brought home the money. So I'm going to play Syracuse plus the 17.5 against Florida State for the first Fat Cat 5-0 fade.
I don't know if you get the same treatment that I do, but whenever I go to any doctor and they start to do anything, even the simplest of exams, they always preface it by saying you might feel a little bit of discomfort there. And after watching the Cuse, I mean, just gag against North Carolina last week, I would have trouble playing them under any circumstances. But I guess 17.5. And this is my alma mater, Mark. I'm turning on my own school. But,
you're a Syracuse guy, huh? Wow.
Cuse, I was there when Ben Schwartzwalder and woke up one day and realized that you can pass the football. This guy was something, man. He used to, because he was so used to having great running backs, and Zonko, was there the year before I got there as a freshman. So that was the end of it. And it took him the better part of like that season to realize that the forward pass was legal. He would go like on 3rd and 27 from the shadow of his own goal line and run the ball right up the middle, thinking that was going to work. Yeah. So we got slapped around by Penn State those years. It was ugly. And then, Ben was also under the banner of maybe the game had passed him by. I think it was pretty evident when they had like two pass plays. They looked like Navy, running the football all over the place while everybody else was heaving it downfield. All right, 17.5, a very bold move by Mark Lawrence. See, I mean, this is not for the faint of heart when we have Mark Lawrence on the show. I mean, you really have to have some stones to go ahead and lay, some of these bets out there, taking the points. All right, what else? Who else is 5-0 that's going to get faded? I'm thinking, North Carolina? Are they in that category?
There you go, bingo. North.
Oh yeah, okay.
Category. Yep, and we're going to use Miami this week. And, the tragedy that was the Shakespeare tragedy that was with Mario Cristobal. I'm sure there's some kind of a passage that can be written about that. I think the players in this football team, from what I've seen at least, they're behind him. They're not, pointing fingers and so forth and whatnot. And what people aren't realizing is in that loss, they actually out-yarded Georgia Tech by 278 yards. Had they taken the knee and gotten out with the win, and they would have been 5-0 also. They would have out-yarded Georgia Tech 375 yards in that football game. They completely dominated the football contest. Now they're going to dog up to North Carolina here in a football game here that I think Miami of Florida comes with everything they've got. We'll fade this 5-0 Fat Cat North Carolina team and watch the Hurricanes improve on their record now to 5-1. They'll get their fifth win, albeit with a loss on Saturday.
Wow. After the condemnation we threw Cristobal's way all week long after what I thought was one of the bonehead moves of all time in terms of coaching bonehead decisions. Bozoic at best.
What was ridiculous to me, Deef, I don't know if you saw the interviews after the game when Cristobal was asking his logic for what it was he does. And he said that because we practice handing the ball off.
Yeah, do we practice fumbling also? I think so.
What the fuck?
Unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But after that, I mean, after what we've said, and listen, we have the utmost respect. Obviously, the logic always leads to the favorite, and you're, completely contrarian on all of that. But and always back it up with outstanding and astounding numerology, but and facts and logic. But after that, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like maybe they're strapping on the rubber glove. You know what I mean? When I'm at that doctor's office. You hear that snap, and you're like, what are we doing here, Doc? I don't think I need that. I really don't. Stay out of my, colon there, man. It's cavernous and nice feeling when it's empty. All right. Oh, good. Okay. So now I guess this is, beyond hypothetical because it isn't going to happen, but it would have been weird if both of those teams were 5-0. Would the theory have applied? And which way?
Well, here's the key to this whole thing. If you get a pair of 5-0 matchups, like you're going to have with Oregon and Washington this weekend, you fade the favorite, you play the dog. The dog is disrespected. The favorite is Fat Cat, and it ends up being a much stronger play to the dog in 5-0 matchup. So you've got something with Oregon that way. And remember this, last year, Washington went into Oregon and beat them as a 13-point dog at Oregon. So I think the Ducks have a revenge chip on their shoulder Saturday.
All right. Sounds good. All right, two college plays here. Of course, dodging the chalk there. No milk of magnesia from Mark Lawrence as he gives you the Cuse against Lubie's Florida State team, which we should have a side bet on that, I would think, Lubie, although I'm imagining the Cuse gets hammered pretty badly in this game. I'll be hoping with Mark for maybe a backdoor cover late in the ball game on a meaningless touchdown. And then you have North Carolina losing losing to the spread to Miami, laying 3.5 points. So, and that's a very unpopular opinion with the people I was looking across the board here, 7 handicappers in the New York Post. I think almost everybody had North Carolina in that game. All right, professional football. I'm smelling this, Mark Lawrence. I don't want to, I think, sometimes we can feel the waves of your boldness. Am I sensing that you might have a lean toward the New York Jets against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I do have a lean toward the New York Jets against the Philadelphia Eagles, but even worse, even bolder, we're going to.
Oh, no, don't tell me Carolina.
Giants. Oh, my God. Good for you. That
Giants.
takes balls.
And they are Giants.
I've seen.
Against Buffalo.
Who's quarterbacking? Phil Simms? Who's quarterbacking for the Giants here? Looks like Jones is out of there.
Well, we might get Tyrod Taylor behind center.
Yeah.
But it sort of goes to a theory of mine where when your starting quarterback is out and the backup comes in and the team rallies around the backup. But
he may be a better quarterback at this point.
Well, what are they losing without Jones? That's my question here. They haven't done a whole lot with him. Nothing exactly.
Yeah.
But what I like in this game is this, guys. Number one, you have Buffalo coming back from London and laying 14.5 points.
Yep.
You look at the teams that came back from London and they were favorites of 7 or more points. There have been 7 of them, and they went 1-6 against the spread. They have a London hangover coming back. Yep. Number two, it's sort of what I'm going to pair to the other team here is you have a horrific rush defense here for Buffalo. They're allowing 5.8 yards a rush. That's sinful for a National Football League team. And if Barkley is back for the Giants, I think they'll expose and attack that. Bottom line here is you got a porous Buffalo rush defense into a bad after London situation here for them. Hold my nose, get the clothespin out, and I'll play the New York Giants.
Did you have Wepner on the money line in the fight with Ali? I guess there is only a money line in boxing, but I could see you going with that, man. I could see you somehow envisioning the impossible and scoring like the man of La Mancha that you are. All right, the Giants getting 14 and a hook from the vaunted Buffalo Bills, and rounding it out for Mark Lawrence. PlaybookSports.com this week is.
We're going to use the Seattle Seahawks against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, the whole world's back on the Bengals, figuring Joe Burrow is back. He's getting better. I'll give him that. I don't know if he's back. And I don't know if, truthfully, the Cincinnati football team is back. Their defense is also sinful, the Cincinnati defense, which people are overlooking here. Maybe it was because the defense was on the field so long and they weren't used to being there because Cincinnati was going 3 and out, during the injured Joe Burrow games. But bottom line here is another defense that allows 5.3 yards per rush in Cincinnati. You just don't lay points with defenses that allow a massive cavern-like rush defense amount of yardage in football games like this. You've got a week of rest here for Seattle. Pete Carroll's been absolutely terrific in his career when he's had been a dog coming off of a week of rest to get ready for football games like this. Give me the points with Seattle here. I think they're the better football team going into this game.
Sounds good, Marcos. PlaybookSports.com. I mean, always fascinating stuff, win, lose, or draw. And it's one of those things that I get asked about all the time. Hey, how can I find out more about what Mark Lawrence has to say? And you really do a terrific job because you lay it out there. I mean, this is information that goes beyond the scope of your wildest imagination when, you're trying to formulate opinions about these things. And I don't know. How have you not been offered, some kind of professorial position at Harvard with the way that college kids are gambling their brains out now, Mark? I would think it would be appropriate to, have you teach in some kind of a math class. How do people get this information?
Well, let me say, first of all, I never did go to college, so I probably have to have had that degree to get to Harvard in advance. So that's
I think that you skip all of those, formalities. I mean, they just say, listen to this man. Are you kidding me? He has the Giants plus 14.5. Should be the dean. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like that lawyer on Susie.
If they score on the money line, you could put 2 kids through Harvard with wager. But all right, how do people get involved with Playbookers.com?
We publish 3 newsletters weekly, Defo. Our football newsletter, our midweek alert newsletter, which is our statistical horse racing newsletter, all the stats from every team, and also the only over-under totals tip sheet in the country. They're all available online for this weekend. Log on at playbooksports.com.
Brilliant as always, Marcos. Well, we love you. Thanks so much for being with us. Best of luck with all of your wagers, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Hey, you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. Be well. Thanks you.
Lawrence, man.
All right, very good. Mark Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen. That man has balls. Doesn't he? I mean, come on.
The Giants.
To come on a show, I mean, a public broadcasting endeavor like we have here. And with logic. I mean, it wasn't like, he's just hey, you know what? I like the Giants. Go fuck yourself. It wasn't one of those things, was it?
No, he did math. I mean, he had stats. It's like, oh, okay, good for you. I've watched the Giants. I wouldn't have found those stats.
The fat cat theory, man. I like that one. The fat cat theory was a beauty. And then he even has a situation covered if the both teams are 5-0.
Yeah.
Fade the favorite.
Yep.
Likes the Duckies quacking this week against Washington. That would be considered the marquee matchup, would it not?
Yeah,
What do you think?
7-8. Yeah, that's a great game. I mean,
What do you think of this week's card here?
Those are two of
Top
the
teams all playing cupcakes. Top teams all against cupcakes.
Yes, Michigan. I think next week Michigan finally plays an actual team.
How bad is Vanderbilt, man? They suck.
Yeah, they're rough.
Michigan, many people. See, is this just people trying to be clever, Lubie? I mean, people are saying, and I saw this with Colin Cowherd. They had a clip of him on Fox Sports 1. I was watching that, and they inundate and infuse a zillion promos for Cowherd in the World Series games or playoff games.
Watch it, yeah.
Yeah. And this particular clip had him declaring that Michigan is the best team in the country. That not only does he feel that way, but many others do.
I mean, that's dumb. They haven't played anyone, and they've struggled. They played Michigan. I wouldn't have Michigan in the top 5 if they weren't in the playoffs last year. They haven't played anyone. Like by this point of the year, to not have played one. They haven't played one ranked team. We're 5 games in. This is their 6th game. They haven't played one ranked team. Not one.
Well, they're going to be picking on Indiana to the tune of 33 and a hook favorite in this game. All right, we're going to come back with the Greek. He has managed to weasel his way out of this meeting here somehow. I guess when the Greek gets up and says, look, I got to make a sale. Isn't that the way to get out of that stuff, Lubie? Listen, you want me to make money for you, or you want me to sit here and listen to your bullshit? What do you want me to do?
Exactly.
Anyway, the Greek's going to join us here in just a minute. Always a lot of fun. He's been off to a good start this season. I think he's doing as well as anybody, if not better, the Greek with his selection. So he'll join us in a few minutes here on a Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show, along with Mike Lubie Lubitz. How'd the trivia go last night? Chronics, winners? No?
Chronics weren't even there. I hope everything.
They weren't there? A no-show?
No, they weren't even there.
Not one Chronic.
No, the team wasn't there. It was like a first. They usually have some representation. I hope everything's okay.
Lenny, I hope you're all right, man. Pop on the chat line there and just let us know you're okay. Anybody, Pat Fox, any of the Chronics there, let us know for sure. All right, we're going to come back with the Greek in a moment. Now that Professor coming up later on. It's 8:45.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Young blood in the announcing booth. It's a possibility. They've gone with the hot chick theory, which, works for me, as they say.
Of course.
Yeah.
When I go down to Miami, that's all I do is I put the weather on. I shut off the sound. It's awesome.
Yeah, it could be snowing outside. You don't care. You don't want to hear what the person has to say.
It's now time for the Defo Show. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday underway. Oh, my God. The man is on fire, Lubie. The man is on fire. 6-1 last week, 4-0 in the NFL. A direct pipeline to Las Vegas that even, as we've said before, Steve Wynn is a little bit envious of. It's like, well, what? You got a call from who? Huh? He don't even call me. He don't answer my calls. Managed to work his way out of a meeting. What'd you tell him, Greek, that you had to go make a sale? Like if nobody makes any money here, what's the point of having a meeting? How are you?
I'm good, but I told him the truth. I got to call Defo Show, and my boss was talking to me about a couple of things. We sometimes with management, you see things differently.
Yes.
Which is understandable. It's always good when you have two different minds. But
Down at Joseph's Plastic Market, stuck in a rainstorm. I can't go anywhere because of the bad thing. Anybody who had West Virginia last night, I send my prayers out to you.
I got very lucky, in my personal bookmaking venture. I ended up with Houston.
Oh,
So
you got a big ass.
I was never so happy, man. I was praying to the gods of gambling that they wouldn't give up that go-ahead touchdown, and then boom, right back in your face, man, as if you had remarried the ex. Here we go. We're at the 50, and
well, it started. And this is what people don't understand about betting. Like, you can do all your charts and all your BS. At the end of the day, it's being on the right side of being lucky. But it started with a penalty that they gave the quarterback that shouldn't even have been one.
Right.
And then they put it back 15 yards. And then the kid's thrown. I don't understand how they have 17 friggin' assistants on all these teams. And every defensive back does the same stuff every play. Like, knock it down. Why are you hitting it up in the air?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It's crazy, right? Guys go for the pick. And, they try to make the catch. And, it's like one of those, home run balls that's at the wall, and the guy reaches up, he gets a glove on it, and, it's in there, and then it just rolls over the fence. And disaster strikes.
It's like when the Kardashians go into the NBA draft.
Speaking of which, we had that clip about the movement that was on, and that had to be from years ago, Greek, when we were doing the radio shows together. But I was, referencing the fact that there was an infusion of hot babes into the broadcasting sports genre. If anything, I would say it's even been, exaggerated to an even, larger exponent, because there are nothing but babes out there in the sidelines. It's incredible. And I would have to say a lot of them are actually very good.
Well, first of all, they don't get paid the same. That's the first thing. The whole jock mentality, I think, is starting to wear off a little. I think there's a lot of guys getting paid big money. If I owned any of these companies, I wouldn't have 5 guys like on Fox.
Yeah.
Reggie Bush. I talked about it. I had Reggie Bush and his wife. I wouldn't have Matt Lauer, Quinn, all them. They're crazy, these guys. Meyer. And nobody cares. Have some guy in there for Secaucus, New Jersey, who's talking about the point spread. So I'm higher rating. I mean, you really will. But that's why the company, those companies are on the balls of their ass, because they have people up top who don't know how to make money.
Zero idea.
Well,
and people get enamored with players. You know what I mean? Like CEOs and those, they'd like to say, oh, you know who I had lunch with? And you know who came over? Michael Strahan or AF5 or, this one or Dion. Like, who cares?
No one cares.
It's so funny. It came out yesterday, something I said to my friends a long time ago. That big podcast on ESPN now, McVay.
Yeah.
You see the punter for the Colts.
Yeah.
And he has all these guys on his thing. And my buddy would be like, oh, they're so cool. I said, he pays them. It came out yesterday. Aaron Rodgers is getting paid $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing like the 5 minutes there.
He's like a partner.
Yeah, same thing with Saban. Like, Saban, really? He's going to call into a podcast?
Can you imagine? Nick just picks up the phone and calls, WTUS in Tuscaloosa and says, hey, let me go on with Joe there. He's on the air right now. He said something that I want to take exception with. You're like, really?
Saban would charge his mom. Did you hear me? He would charge his mom if she had a podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, it just cracks me up. Yeah, I think the women, I think the thing that people, again, this is a local spin that I hear from people. People are so sick of the whole Taylor Swift thing with Keith and Kelsey and his mom, and like guys last night were like, why do they show her?
Yeah, it's become unmerciful.
It's stupid. Yeah, the guys don't care about that.
It's insufferable, as we often accuse Mike Mayo of being.
And Mahomes' wife's annoying too.
No, she sucks. No, his wife's actually annoying.
She's out to lunch, yeah.
She's fucking
no doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
it's too bad that Baker Mayfield was such a disappointment, because he was at least watchable and viewable in those commercials for Home Depot.
Yeah, he's doing good though, Baker in Tampa Bay. He's
3-1. He's all right. Yeah, Todd Bowles, I think, will bury Tampa Bay. Does he not seem like he looks like Marcus Freeman on the sidelines to me? It looks like totally detached. At least Freeman seems like he's got his hands on his knees, like he's into the game, like he's Sam Rutigliano. Yeah,
he just doesn't get excited. He won Powerball, he wouldn't care. I mean, he'd be like, all right, okay, and And Belichick's up in New England trying to, stone crab season this weekend, so he's happy about that. But besides that, oh my God. That team couldn't score in a Vegas Strip. They just couldn't.
It's incredible, yeah.
So
Yeah,
bad.
a couple of blowouts back to back, and the speculation maybe this will awaken Bill and say just throw in a towel at this point. His buddies with Jimmy Johnson, who knew what to do.
Yes, Jimmy did the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, you would think he'd go down to the Keys one day and just say, "This is a lot better." What was that, the Greek?
He wants the all-time record.
Yeah,
So that's why he's staying.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's starting to look a lot more elusive, isn't it? I mean, he needs 18 more wins. How long is that going to take with this team?
I mean, it could take 3 years. I don't know. I mean, again, Belichick's. I think he hires too many of his ex-friends that come back, and I think they're retreads. 3 years in a row, they've had offensive coordinators that I just don't think are good. But I don't care because all you keep doing is betting against them. Again, bet the Raiders this weekend. And because Jimmy G is cuter than Jones, there's your pick for the weekend. And bet the other. San Fran, you knew was going to crush Dallas. Last weekend was just like shooting ducks in a barrel. It was so easy. I think I went 9-1 with people. I know I have great weekends when my phone doesn't stop on Sunday, Saturday, like off the hook. And it's nobody who wants to do anything for me. That's what I do.
That's for sure. Yeah, they're never calling to offer you money. Yes.
No, not one friend or female ever calls me up and says, "Hey, G, let me do something for you." It's unbelievable. And then they say I get resentful. I get resentful because you don't do anything. I said, if we were on a seesaw, I always be down.
That's classic.
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it summarizes most of my relationships. You're right.
You're right.
That's excellent, Greek. I mean, did you get that from the shrink? That was good.
Come up with some stuff. I'm pretty smart.
You're on a roll, man. I don't know. Whatever this meeting has inspired you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really inspired me.
Were you in on any of those Bob Pittman meetings, those mandatory Bob Pittman meetings that we used to have?
He would not want to sit down with me. He would make his hair look like Don King.
They always had the smiling henchman there who was like the VP of operations, who you essentially thought did nothing except, lead the applause for Pittman's statements as, he talked about how the company was no longer going to be buried.
Yeah,
it was great.
Again, it's corporate America. You can't beat them in the long run, and you do your job and you go in every day. If your keypad works, you go in. If not, you're done.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to us.
Like Rihanna said, everybody's using everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always believe that. You're using me in a different way than I'm using you, and I make you money. Obviously, if I didn't, I'd be out on my ass.
Yeah.
You don't like me. You don't have to like me.
Yeah.
That's why I have hookers.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of hooks, I know, that's usually the goal is to dodge being beaten by the dagger there, by the hook. But where are we going this week after this remarkable week last week? I would imagine your players in your cigar, place, or you have the contest, probably, we're being carried out in body bags after you just whipped the crap out of them.
Yeah, I had last week. I got like 6 boxes of cigars from people. I mean, if I sit down with Castro, I got enough cigars.
All right,
let's go.
What do you have for us? This is a direct steam from Vegas with the Greek. What do you have for us this week?
We go Washington, Oregon over. Okay. I think right now it's 67. You got to double check it over in that game. Carolina to destroy the Canes.
All right.
I mean, after last week, are you kidding me? I mean, but that was one of the worst. That's the third worst loss in Cane history. I put that 3, Flutie's past 2, and Ohio State when the refs screwed them number 1.
Yeah. Lance Krenzel, man.
USC goes into Notre Dame and covers.
USC covers against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they haven't won there in 7 years, but I think they cover and possibly put out a win.
But I would imagine the line is fairly short there. Notre Dame, how many points are they giving up? 3, that's it? Okay.
2 or 3, yeah. And Sunday morning you wake up and you look at somebody next to you and said, how much do I owe you? and then you bet the
Well, we were just talking to Mark Lawrence, and I mean, you talk about having some balls. His recommendation was to bet the Giants against the Bills, getting 14 and a hook. Giants.
It's a lot, yeah.
And you're thinking,
no way. I love Lawrence, but
yeah,
I ain't taking the Giants.
I wouldn't pick them against North Carolina, getting 14 and a half.
Exactly.
No. If Giants played long tail, I wouldn't take them. All right, so we go with the Ravens early in the morning, and
Okay.
at 1 o'clock the Raiders. I also like Houston. That's a hot team. And then there's one at 4 o'clock. Let me check real quick. That I like, and then that's it. I mean, that's enough. How about
that's
the
good.
Phillies winning again? Unbelievable. The Phillies winning again. Unbelievable. And the Chiefs covered 10.5 last night.
yeah, they did.
That was interesting, the way that all transpired.
It was close.
For me, it was very
That
much like
game
the
was
Houston
like-
game.
Yeah, it was Tank City. It really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Well, the Raiders are at 4 o'clock. Excuse me.
Okay.
And I don't see how you don't bet San Fran.
Oh yeah, every week.
They were on fire. Yeah.
That's right.
Playing very well.
Fran and the Raiders,
Browns,
Baltimore.
Browns.
8.5 against the Browns, who have a backup quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah. They
A
got
backup to a lousy quarterback.
Yeah. The kid who's walking to the bank every day.
Well, and who knows if he's going straight there. Yeah.
I call him Powerball quarterback because that's what it's like. You want a Powerball.
He did, yeah, and has done nothing to distinguish that kind of that kind of faith in him financially. That's for sure.
And I think the Dolphins beat Carolina pretty bad.
Carolina blows, man. I mean, I would not take them against the spread until they start giving you 20 points. Yeah.
14 a hook. Yeah, it's a lot.
All right, Greek, I love you, man. That line was 11 and a hook right away. I told Lubie, wouldn't that be the first thing that anybody would jump on? Carolina, only getting 11 and a half on the road against the Miami Dolphins, who, probably would like nothing better than to put up another 70 spot in this game. And,
With the Dolphins, the only thing with them you got to look at, they got a couple tough games. They got the Eagles and Chiefs coming up.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So this is it, right? I say it's party time, and they stomp all over Carolina in this game. Greek, we love you, man. Get back to work, kid. I mean, I'm glad you're carrying that company there in Palm Beach. Thank goodness for that.
Thank goodness for you.
Probably the only profitable arm of the iHeartMedia,
Branches,
stable of stations. Yeah. All right, thanks, Greek. Always a pleasure, my friend. You're on a roll. On a roll, kid.
Love you. Bye.
Greek was on fire.
He was on it. Yeah, that was great.
6-1, 4-0 in the NFL.
The line, if I was on a seaside, I'd always be down.
I always be on the downside. Yeah. Is that not summarized like?
It's like life, though.
Yeah, what the hell were we thinking, Lobie? Thought this was going to be fun, all of it. All right, we're coming back with the professor. A good way to close things out. Later on, the Gambling Gourmet. He has his own show, so we kind of, with all of this new finagling, much to Jim Sarney's concern, but he sort of, unfortunately, by time constraints, got aced out of the program here. At least for the time being. We don't know what's going to happen with that. So, we can only handle so much on the show here. All right. But we will be able to handle him later on today. The insufferable Mike Mayo at 12 o'clock. Mike Mayo's lunchbox. He's in a good spot there, though. He's usually pretty happy when he's at the track, is he not?
Oh, yeah. No, that's one place he doesn't have that face.
That was pretty sick yesterday, what they were doing to us at Gilbert's. Wow.
Well, I told you that we used to come up with the stuff we would want because Mayo.
Because Mayo would order the stuff that he wanted that he was hoping not to share.
But the thing is, they wouldn't replace the stuff they were already bringing. They would just add it. So it's like, okay, how much food do we so I stopped. They bring out half the menu. So if we can't find something we like in the middle of all the crap they bring out, it's like,
It's insane. Yeah. All right. We're going to bring on the professor here in just a moment, and we'll take it out the door with the professor and the big board as we'll be back with that in a moment. Now that was a lot of moments there. I almost sounded like I was a senior bachelor. No, we had a moment that was so unforgettable. I'll take it to the grave.
That's what they should have called it. They were too nice with that Golden Bachelor bullshit. It should be the Senior Bachelor.
Senior Bachelor, man. Isn't that what I thought it was? That
no, it's the Golden Bachelor.
I know. I saw the promos. I saw, Golden Bachelor. That's clever.
That's bullshit.
It's like when they renamed the Senior Tour the Champions Tour.
should be the senior bachelor held
Like
as
champions of 1929. Why don't you bring out Gene Sarazen, right? I mean, what the fuck?
They should have held it at Century Village. That would be the best in the.
Wouldn't that have been perfect? I think they had one there. My mom got me tickets. All right. Coming back with the professor in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Well, it's a short course today. That's because most of the guys are under 5'2" at this point in their lives. How come we end up shrinking? It's crazy.
That's annoying.
It's 9:03. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
The world, I mean, if my point was ever going to be embellished and going to be proven true, the world has gotten me sugar now.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
I had to fear about this when you told me about the site he was on.
Because it was, he thought he didn't have it, then he had it, and he didn't have it.
I hope this was not a substantial wager that got torched there, went right into the Bunsen burner. I just brought it out there, right to the place where your stack of cash was sitting on the table, and torched it. That was crazy. I mean, this kind of stuff happens more often than people would realize, and that's why, Lubie, you probably were unaware of all of these bizarre happenings in sports.
West Virginia had a 3-point lead when I last checked. I was keeping tabs on the NFL game, and it seemed like another boring Thursday night game where the Chiefs weren't playing well, but they were going to win. So I was watching stuff with my wife, just doing wife time so that I don't have to hear it this whole fucking week.
There is such a thing as wife time?
Yeah, we still have that. I don't know.
You know what? Since she's, obviously bringing home substantial cake,
I don't care.
You have to be nice to her. There's no question.
I mean,
yeah, that's good.
More.
Well, you missed. I mean, there was too much action last night to keep pace with. I mean, with the Phillies and Atlanta game, that was great. Castellanos makes baseball history.
Dominating. Like I keep seeing mail messaging, and on Twitter they were saying stuff, and then I kept track of the score, and the Phillies were always up. The Braves didn't even make a gallop. Well,
they did in the 7th inning, and that's where the game ultimately and the series ended up being clinched. As you had Acuna at the plate, 2 away, bases loaded, 7th inning, and the Braves are down 3-1. What scenario could you imagine that would be more favorable to the Braves? Acuna, who had just finally gotten a couple of hits in last night's game, or the night's prior night's game, and then he comes to the plate and whacks one, Lubie, into left center field. You're thinking this ball is either gone or it's a base clearing triple for Acuna. It's going to be off the wall, even if it's fielded cleanly on the bounce. It's going to probably plate all 3 runs. And so now you're looking at a 4-3 Atlanta lead. And, I mean, look what's riding on that, Louie. And the center fielder for the Phillies makes a great running catch. It was not, the all-time greatest catch I've seen, but under the circumstances, and I believe he's a rookie also, the center fielder. And he makes a great catch under. I think about this. I mean, you're tracking this ball that's rocketing away from you, and we were talking about this. About defense in the major leagues? The defense, I don't think, has ever been better.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad. That's the thing.
No.
It doesn't get showcased as often in years
More
past.
so now, though. There seems to be an emphasis. You're hearing this more and more during the course of the thread of a broadcast where the announcers are alluding to the idea that, this team used to strike out 8,000 times a season, but they put an emphasis on making contact. I mean, it was true of the Marlins this year. And, you would have to say that carried them to many of those one-run victories that were so favorable on their side in the win column and ultimately propelled them into the postseason. Those things, true, have a tendency to even out. So maybe that's not a good omen for the future. You would think that would make a big case for Schumacher to be the manager of the year, that he had this brilliant record in one-run games. If a manager's going to make a difference, so would that not be the barometer, the telling stat? I mean, you don't want a guy making bozoic decisions like Mario Cristobal and costing you a game just flat outright. And managers, make bonehead plays also, and they go by the cookie cutter programming of even though the guy just struck out two guys on 6 pitches in the 8th inning, I'm going to take him out and bring in my closer.
Exactly.
Who coughed up the lead in the last 3 games he's entered in, and I had to have him come in the 4th game where I started yet. What is it to make it? It's ridiculous. But anyway. Riding on this Acuna shot in the 7th, a feeling that if the Braves didn't cash in on that opportunity, they probably were going to get shut down the rest of the way, and they did. The flow of the game was going. Castellanos ends up with 2 home runs in the game, 4 home runs in the last 2 games. Philly's a hot team, and it sparked a big argument. By the way, did we ever get to the point that the professor looks like he's a scratch based on and now we probably have to get pretty close to official. No word from this guy after, you get beat on a Hail Mary. How much alcohol? He's not a drug guy, the professor. How much alcohol would he have to consume?
I mean, it's whatever.
What's that?
He seems to he takes his losses fine, so I don't think he went under, but he probably was up bitching about it.
Well, just like I was bitching about that pick 6 in the LSU Missouri game. The only way you can lose is to have something atrocious happen. There mathematically, you could do a zillion permutations and not come up with a losing formula, except
exactly
a bad penalty call puts the ball at the 50, and a Hail Mary with 12 seconds to go in the game. They get possession of the ball. Houston, 12 seconds, Lubie.
Yeah, game's over.
No field goal opportunity is going to be enough. And they snuff out the crushing defeat you were about to incur if you were on that side of the scorecard. And, you come back with a victory, an outright victory, a money line victory, no less, which, the money line had to be, relatively, mild because it was only a 3-point differential, some places 2.5. Which was ugliness. And the Chiefs game, too, same thing. I mean, what you need sometimes, you have to root against your own team. That's what I love about gambling.
Yeah, to get to overtime or something.
Well, normally you would just be satisfied if you were a Chiefs fan or whatever, and you were betting the Chiefs or you had money on the Chiefs. You would be satisfied that they just won the game. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
And at 16-8, even after Denver got this touchdown in the 4th quarter, there was enough time left where even at 16-8, regardless of what kind of control you had of the game, you would think that Kansas City would be compelled to at least try to get some kind of a scoring drive going, no?
You want to be up 2 scores. That's the thing that saved your ass there. Is they're going to still want to be up 2 scores.
Now, if Denver doesn't get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion, it might be a different story. So you had to root for Denver to go ahead and get the 2-point conversion so that you would, at that point, you would have been defeated by the spread had it been 16-6. It was 10 and a hook.
Oh, no.
See, so you need to make the 2-point conversion. So now you're rooting against your own team in that spot so that they will have to get the ball back and be forced to, because it's now I don't know why I resent the one score, two score references. Because usually they imply also that it'll be two scores with two-point conversions.
Yeah, it's 2 scores, but it's really 3 because most teams aren't getting 2 2-point conversions. They're going to miss one of them.
It's kind of a 50% prop, isn't it? The 2-point conversion, which is kind of interesting because it makes you think that with this sabermetrics and analytics, why wouldn't you just always go for one?
That's the thing. Yeah.
Why did Jacksonville go for 2 points on their first touchdown in that game in London? Do you have any idea about that? Did you happen to catch that, Lubie?
No.
I mean, they score a touchdown to go up 6-0.
Yeah, the Dolphins did it last week. The FSU did it in the game last week too, and I was like, I don't.
It can't be lack of faith in the kicker. I mean, in some circumstances it would be, but
no. I don't understand. They didn't do it the rest of the game. What do you mean? They did kicks the rest of the game. It wasn't like that one guy that never punts and never kicks extra points in like high school or whatever.
What is that? Is that something that they detected that there's a weakness, an area of neglect on the part of the team that just got scored on? That they're not going to be ready for the 2-point conversion try. So let's get out there and do it.
Yeah, I don't know. They supposedly in FSU's case, the offensive coordinator said because they did it versus VT.
Yeah,
said we had practiced something all week that we really liked, and we wanted to go. We saw the look, which it was a kick.
Oh yeah, okay. What look is there except a bunch of guys that are depressed going out there lining up for an automatic extra point?
I don't know, but I'm thinking it's something that they don't want to take a chance at wasting for later in the game, so they'd rather just put it out there. I don't know. To me, you just get the extra point. McDaniel will do that. He'll just go for fucking 4th down.
You see it from time to time, right? Like a Jim Harbaugh kind of move, no?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know.
Or has he become conservative? We don't know because he hasn't played a team that would be even remotely competitive yet.
Push them
during the course of the year. But that was a weird thing because now you're rooting against your own team. You're rooting against the Chiefs. You're hoping that they give up this 2-point conversion, which would normally be bizarre, right? Because you would much rather be leading by 10, except for the fact that you now are going to lose if you bet the Chiefs.
Yeah,
so you need them to get the ball back in a situation where they now need to make some kind of a move, which they did. They complete a long pass play that gets the ball down into field goal range, survive a sack of Mahomes that almost knocked them out of field goal range. But Kansas City has this kicker, Butker.
Butker's great. Yeah, Butker's great.
Yeah, and he's good from like 70. This guy, he's got one of the strongest legs, and it seems like everybody does though, Lubie. The field goal range. Has it not been lengthened considerably? I mean, you're looking at stats. Oh, well, he's 9 out of 10 from 55 plus over the last 3 seasons. And you're saying, wow, guys used to routinely punt in these spots now or go for it rather than attempt, 55-yard plus field goals. And you're seeing guys go for it in college from 60, Lubie.
Yes.
Holy Tom Dempsey. My God. Remember when that was the biggest deal? This guy with like 1 foot. Kicked the 61-yard field goal, or whatever. Was it 63? I think that was the record of Dempsey, 63.
Dempsey before my time. I'm aware of him. And
Dempsey, he had like 1 foot. He had like mowed all his toes off in a lawnmower accident or something.
Oh, Jesus.
So he had like a club foot, which you would think would be a huge advantage, right? Hey, Quasimodo, man, put it through there.
But how do
we need to win.
Well, you got to move it still.
Dempsey's probably rolling over in his grave saying, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Quasimodo? Lawnmower accidents? I think that was a Dolphin guy. Was that Earthquake Eddie Blake that mowed off his toes? No, Tim Bowens. Tim Bowens was the guy, right? Didn't he mow his toes off in a lawnmower accident?
I've heard of.
Not that I'm making fun of that. I mean, it's unfortunate. Yeah, stuff happens. If you're accident prone, maybe that, is that a one-time thing, right? You have to really go out of your way to do something like that, don't you? Mow your toes off with a lawnmower?
Yes.
Anybody out there in our audience ever done that? No. Are you doing? That's why you don't do your own lawn, huh, Lubie? Tim Bowen story.
I'm not really scared of it, but yeah, I'd rather not.
I don't care how small my yard was. I always wanted one of those riding mowers, just so I could ride around. You always see guys out there, some of your neighbors, and you're like, "Are you kidding me, man? You got like 4 square feet of grass, right?" And the guy's out there on a riding mower, like he owned a piece of John Deere or something. Unbelievable. Like he was going to mow the snow off the field there with a snowblower in the Patriot game. All right, Yeah, no professor today, so that's unfortunate because we always like his steam on college football. Some wild picks here on the
He was
program,
4-1
though.
last week. That's the thing. After all the struggles he's lamented, he was 4-1 last week on the show.
Yeah. Well, and he figured to pick up steam because this guy is not going to be giving out losers all season long. And it seemed like the Greek was carrying the load for us. Mark Lawrence was getting touched up a little bit
Yeah, he was
with his selections on the show, but still, I mean, it's fascinating. What level of intestinal fortitude do you need to be in the degenerate game, Lubie?
Oh, good.
You cannot be of the faint of heart, can you? And it would help to have a total detachment from all of your emotions, wouldn't it? Like a complete outlook of indifference, win, lose, or draw. But do you also then have to have an accompanying faith in your ability to eventually be a winner?
Oh, yeah. You have to have supreme confidence. I think that's what it is. As much as you lament degenerates being nebbishy and, rooting against themselves and this and that, I think it's the opposite. I think you have to have so much confidence in yourself that you assume it's going to turn around. Which I think is a little ridiculous, but the bravado you have to throw money away every week, because that's what it is to me. You're just throwing money away. I think eventually you're going to lose when you gamble.
Eventually? How about from the start, Louie? How about from day fucking one? And you all know it out there. That's the beauty of it. It's the torture. It really is. I mean, it's a strong parallel. I mean, there's a very viable comparison to a marriage, is there not? Because what is it that keeps you going? The endurance and the enjoyment of the torture. No. What guy wouldn't want to be free to do whatever the hell he wanted at any time? You really want to have female accompaniment? You can find somebody on the spot. You can be strolling through the supermarket and see the woman of your dreams. Are you going to make a move on her? No, right? Because you're married.
Because you're married. I love how you think.
Woman of your dreams just walks in and out of your life. Bye, sweetheart.
You're fine. For someone who likes being single so much, you find a way to not a lot.
Because I am just absolutely a self-sabotaging fool.
That's very true. That's very true.
Whatever form of sabotage I can practice. And I try to avoid it, Louie. It's not like I, really am seeking this kind of thing out. But, nonetheless, there it is. But isn't it part of it? I mean, isn't that part of it, right? You're telling your friends about this torturous beat. Hey, yes. Look what it did. It knocked the professor out of the show. That would be, I mean, imagine if that was also the game of your life, that Houston game last night against West Virginia.
Yeah, he didn't seem cocky about it, so I don't think he went all in on it, but he was pretty confident. He was enjoying that it was only 3 points because Houston has sucked this year. West Virginia's actually been pretty good. So he was pretty
a series of miracles and reverse miracles. Like all of a sudden, the Red Sea closes up. It was wide open there. I mean, you get a miracle. 12 seconds to go. His team at when I was tuned into that game, which was briefly earlier, Houston was winning in the first half. And I thought, well, that's good. That game looks like it's going to hold up. And then at the end, I have one of those things when I change channels that some message from the TV pops up and blocks the bottom of the screen for like about, 10 seconds, Lubie? Do you get that?
No. Not that I know of.
Probably is something I could get rid of, but, that would involve like punching a few buttons on a remote. And as I was saying yesterday, what was the worst thing that would ever happen if you had a party at your house, Lubie? Some of the guests get impatient and they start fucking with your remote.
Yeah, the worst.
Can we get the game on here?
Thank you.
And you're like, no, you didn't touch the green one.
Exactly. We used to have 5
You
remotes.
cut the red cord, not the black. What are you, fucking MacGyver? Unbelievable. And now you can't get anything to work, man. You can't even get the grill started. It's incredible, right? Don't fuck with the remote. But so I don't mess with it, but it was blocking the score. Right. So I see, I can make out the numbers. You get to the point where you can just make out like the numbers, even though you're only seeing like not even half of it. You're seeing like a quarter of the number. But I see like 39 points up there for West Virginia. And I thought, it looks like, it's going to be 31 as I'm looking at the Houston score, and I thought, well, that sucks. Lost to the point spread there. Looked like the game was under control. And that was going to wreck my 3-0 night.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they peel this thing away, and bingo, 41, unbelievable. So I just missed the Hail Mary. I don't think they had time to even replay it. Yeah, I had no idea what happened there at the end of that ball game. I had missed the final minute or so. So I avoided the torture. It would have been, what? Is it equally torturous to wake up and find out you're a loser? And how it happened?
Yeah, especially if you thought you won. Like if you thought you won, that's the worst.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That was pretty wild. All right, so we had some selections for you, and we're sorry. We apologize for the lack of the professor's presence here on the program. Maybe he'll trot down to Gulfstream Park later on, have a couple of cocktails. And,
last week, you never know.
Taking the festivities there. That's always good. I like when he goes toe-to-toe with Mayo over various issues. He really... Mayo respects the fact, I guess, that he owns a restaurant and is a good cook.
They don't go at it. Mayo actually usually gives in more to him than he will to us.
Oh, yeah, no, he capitulates completely, man. He backs off.
Ken's opinion.
It's like, oh, geez, Ken, I was unaware of that.
Yes, he never says so.
Whereas with you, it's like a cheeseburger.
He's still defending that pizza that no one would call a pizza.
Oh, God. He would have sent it back every time.
He sends it. He's like, well, this isn't. I'm like, this isn't the same thing. There's shit all over that pizza. I'm sorry to use the word cheese, but whatever you want to say, that pizza, and I love the pizza spot. And
he really stretches.
But it's a waste. Like, Wade and Reese do such a great job with pizzas. Why would you get dough and sauce with all the crap, with all the fine ingredients you can have thrown on your pizza? Why would you get bread and sauce? And how are you defending? He shows us a pizza from Italy that had prosciutto and.
That thing had like the whole Garden of Eden on it. What are you talking about?
Like, how are you comparing that pizza to the fucking thing you put out in front of us? Like, come on, they're not the same thing.
It had to come about by mistake, didn't it?
Exactly.
The whole premise, they had a pizza shop somewhere in New Haven, and they ran out of cheese.
You only have Parmesan.
I could make you a pizza, but it's not going to be what you're expecting.
It's 100%.
And, the guy's stoned, so he comes in and goes, pizza, no cheese. Okay, no problem. Why don't you fire one up?
Exactly. You're so high, you don't give a shit.
I'm telling you, man, if you get like a frozen pizza out of, the freezer section there at Publix, and it didn't have any cheese on it.
You'd be pissed.
You'd be right back at customer service the next day, even after eating half the pizza, and say, hey, I want my money back.
I get it. Wade and Reese have a great sauce. They have good bread. So
it's a thing in New Haven, though. I mean, it's not unique to them.
It's fine. Like, it's not the same thing as what you're describing. But if they have cheese, why not spend it? It's like $2 more. Why wouldn't I just spend the $2 and get cheese?
Because you're not, sophisticated enough to appreciate getting ripped off.
And mozzarella cheese isn't even that bad. He was talking about fat and this and that. Mozzarella cheese is a very
fat. And when he goes off on those things,
for you, it's not like Gruyere or Brie or American. It's not a heavy cheese. It's a very light cheese. Like, it's not even that bad for you, mozzarella cheese. Like, that's not even a good reason. Like, that's a load of garbage.
No, it's ridiculous.
Get the cheese.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It's the funniest thing. But if you're a sophisticated, food critic and analyst, you have to like things that other people know suck. That they would never order under any circumstances, man. It's like eating mayonnaise straight out of the jar. I mean, would you do it? No. Do I like mayonnaise? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be there at 12 o'clock at the track.
Very well.
That's good. Yeah. As Aqueduct will be open at 12:35, so it gives me a chance to make a couple of wagers. I got to run right out of there, and that always is depressing for me.
You always have to seem to run right out of there.
Run right out of there, 1 o'clock. Boom! I got to get back home. Maybe I'll still make use of the racing farm maybe later on in the afternoon at another pari-mutuel facility. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Been a great week. We had a lot of fun with you. Some things happening, so we'll keep you posted. Although, have you heard from those people, Lubie? The people with the people? No?
Not even a little, no. I'm going to reach out today. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's hope they haven't forgotten about us.
Well, they haven't forgotten about us, that's for sure, but
it always takes a little longer to get these things off the ground, right?
That's the thing. When something's starting from scratch, as this is supposed to be, it takes
a lot of favorable developments, so hopefully are coming up. All right, we will see you later on. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you from Gulfstream Park, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. That's here on South Florida Live. And also, Let's Eat South Florida. We suggest that you subscribe because it really is a good thing. In spite of Mayo's bitterness, it really is a good thing.
Oh, it's great. No, Let's
Yeah.
Eat's great. Like, that's the thing is even Mayo will say the actual negativity on there is a small amount of what actually happens there.
Much of it is sort of nitpicking and gets away from the general idea that you're going out to eat as entertainment.
Yes.
In addition, to experiencing something that's very pleasurable, but it's largely, hey, I'm going somewhere because I want to do something that I can't normally do at home, and that is eat this type of food or whatever, or the way it's prepared, and it should be a lot of fun, right? And for the most part, it is. Except then people get into the thing. Oh my God! They had 8% tip automatically on the check. What am I going to do?
So just don't tip.
Yeah,
you don't have to tip.
Be a stiff. See how welcome you are when you come back.
Exactly.
I waited on a few guys that I knew were like stiffs or like really bad tippers many times, where they were regular customers at a place, and you're thinking, and they thought that they were the greatest because they left you like 8%. And they were waiting for you to hug them as they left the restaurant. You want to punch the guy right in the balls. I mean, it's crazy. All right, we'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
Right in the balls, Lubie. I had to chase OJ into the parking lot. OJ Simpson. Very insulting 5% tip. It's 9:29.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.